What if the reason that your career feels stuck isn't about what you're doing, it's about where you're trying to do it? Well, that's exactly where astrocartography comes in, and today we are going to talk about the three best lines in astrocartography to support career growth, career ease, and career expansion, which of course are Jupiter MC lines, Venus MC lines, and Sun MC lines. These three lines are all super supportive for career growth, but they do so quite differently. And depending on what your specific career goals are, one of these lines might be way more beneficial for you than the other two. For example, Venus MC lines are phenomenal for ushering in enhanced financial benefits from your career. Raises, landing more lucrative jobs, things like that. Now, compare that to your Sun MC line, which supports a person taking on more leadership within their career or becoming highly visible. So, actors, people behind the camera would really love a Sun MC line. Now, again, depending on what industry you're in and what exactly about your career that you're trying to optimize, maybe a city along your Jupiter MC line would be a better fit, which will bring ease when it comes to switching industries or more luck in general when trying to land a job. Also, if you happen to be a teacher or a therapist, Jupiter MC lines are also the most supportive of careers in these industries. So here's what we are going to cover in this video. We're going to cover an overview of Venus MC lines, Jupiter MC lines, and Sun MC lines, and how each of these lines are different from each other. We're also going to give you actual examples of what you can expect when living on each of these three lines, and we'll talk about the specific careers and industries that are most likely to thrive on each of these three lines, and they are quite different. Now, I do want to be clear, you don't have to pick up and move to tap into the energies that come with these three planetary lines. You can spend time there, you can visit regularly, and there are other remote activation techniques that you can bring in as well. But yes, relocating to a city along these planetary lines can genuinely shift what's possible for you work-wise. But before we get into all of that, hi, my name is Montana with Astrocartography for Babes, where I teach you how to use astrocartography to find the best places for you in your country and around the globe when it comes to love, career, and overall happiness goals. So check out the link in my description for more information on that if you are interested in a reading. All right, it's important to remember that in astrocartography, looking at a planetary line like a Sun MC line is really just scratching the tip of the iceberg as far as accurately predicting what energies a location is likely to have in store for you. To truly be more accurate, in addition to checking out planetary lines, you're going to want to look at your purans, also known as crossing points. You're going to want to check the condition of your natal chart, look at the relocated chart for that area. There are a few different techniques that will give you a more holistic and accurate view. But if you're just simply looking to understand the three best lines in astrocartography for your career, then this video is an excellent place to start, and let us get into it. Let's talk Venus MC lines, but first we should start talking about Venus in astrology because so much of astrocartography starts and ends with astrology. So in astrology, Venus represents love, harmony, beauty, and finances. Venus rules both the flirty, aesthetically driven sign of Libra and also the sensual, earthy, pleasure-seeking sign of Taurus. Venus in your chart helps define what you find pleasurable, what types of things bring you joy. If you wanted to win someone over or if you wanted to be liked by someone, your Venus would describe how you go about doing that. In a man's chart, Venus describes the type of woman that he's most instantly and easily attracted to. This type of woman is going to line up with his value system around beauty and pleasure. So, for example, a man with Venus in Aries is likely to like a very direct woman, an athletic woman who says what she means and probably has a very strong personality, like one of those straight shooter types who's passionate and not afraid to take initiative. That's very Aries. In comparison, in a woman's chart, her Venus is literally going to tell you how she goes about trying to flirt or just win over the affection of whoever she's interested in. So for example, a woman with Venus in Scorpio will be sultry, will be secretive, will be alluring. She won't reveal too much while still trying to learn everything about the other person. And she'll probably really fixate on the other person, but at the same time, won't want that other person to know that she's obsessed. Okay, very scorpionic. That is a Venus in Scorpio. Compare that to a woman who has her Venus in Libra, okay? When she is trying to win someone over, she'll probably be extra sweet, maybe a little coy, super personable. Even if that's not her normal status quo, she's going to amp up those specific traits when she's trying to win over the object of her affection, right? She'll put effort into being charming, be friendly, try to smile and laugh. Kind of like your traditional flirtatious feminine personality. That is Venus in Libra, okay? So going back to what I briefly mentioned earlier, Venus is also associated with finances, okay? Specifically, how your natal chart positions you to bring in income, how easily you bring in this income. In general, if when you get jobs, are you going to be well paid? Venus in your chart even tells you what occupations in your chart you're most easily supported in making money from, okay? So for example, Venus in the 9th house. First of all, you love foreign culture and traveling, quite likely, and you may even make your money from companies that are based overseas, or you may make your money from something related to law or religion or even teaching or coaching, okay? Compare that to Venus in the 8th. Your source of income might be from mortgages, loans, real estate, other people's money in some way, something where you earn a commission or royalties, okay? You could even earn money through your partner. This could be like a wealthy husband or something like that, right? So in summary, Venus represents what we love, who we love, and how our chart represents, how our chart positions us to make money. All of this is going to help us understand what to expect when dealing with the Venus MC line in astrocartography, okay? Because all of these different elements are going to come into play. Now, back to Venus MC lines, right? So in your personal natal chart, your MC or midheaven is the highest, most visible point in your chart. It can show your professional persona or how you're perceived from a career standpoint, okay? It's your professional brand, if you will, right? So Venus MC lines are going to combine the significations of Venus that we just talked about with themes of your midheaven. So to put it super simply, if you are living in a city along your Venus MC line, you can expect themes around finances, love, and beauty to come into play as it relates to your career. All right, so one of the first major themes that you may experience if you're living on your Venus MC line is earning more income. Venus MC lines are especially supportive of landing roles where you are paid well. So you could reach new levels of income here, whether that's through getting a raise more easily, or if you're just hired for a job that pays you better than where you typically have been paid in the past. So you could find yourself earning top dollar, which is also, of course, great for your self-esteem and self-worth in that way. If in your natal chart you have Chiron or Saturn in the 2nd house and have consistently felt undervalued or underpaid or have lower self-esteem, moving to a city on your Venus MC line could really feel like a remedy to that wound, especially if your Venus is well placed in your birth chart, okay? So cities along your Venus MC line are great for financial increase. Another theme that you can expect is ease when it comes to getting hired. At the very least, on your Venus MC line, you will not have as many difficulties when it comes to getting employment. You may find that during interviews, you're just perceived as more charming and that doors open for you more easily, or that people just don't have as many reservations about hiring you, okay? So that's another way that this will benefit your career. The third theme that you can expect on a Venus MC line is a good public reputation. So since the MC in your natal chart is all about your professional and social reputation out in the world, on a Venus MC line, you're going to reap the benefits of having Venusian support in this area. So what does this mean? So if your name were to come up in a room, the sentiment about you would be positive overall. People would have good things to say about you. So this is super supportive of being well-liked in the workplace, having positive favor with your boss, which of course can easily translate into more career success or ease, okay? So while all people, depending on your natal chart, no matter what your career is, can benefit from being on a Venus MC line, because it is going to bring that Venusian ease into your professional life, there are specific career paths and industries that are more likely to thrive on a Venus MC line. So the first one, if you work in the beauty industry, you will do well on a Venus MC line. This is a great place for beauty influencers who want to monetize their looks, or if you want to be paid in some way to like be beautiful or model clothes, this is a great place for you. Even traditional careers in the beauty industry will do well here, right? So if you do nails or design clothing or work in fashion merchandising, if you design jewelry or are a graphic designer or work with art in some way, right? Or work with facial aesthetics like injectors or like facial rejuvenators. I don't know too much about that industry specifically, but these careers are super well suited for a Venus MC line, okay? Also, if you work with women in some way, I'm talking about like personal trainers for women or therapists for women or gynecologists or midwives or any career where women are your clients specifically, no matter what the industry, a Venus MC line is especially suited to support this career because Venus is all about that feminine energy, right? So outside of careers for women and outside of careers for beauty, Venus also loves pleasure and the arts. So theater, acting, singing, dancing. Venus MC lines are great for any career that's creative in some way, or if you have a skill set that brings joy and pleasure to your audience or even to yourself, that's going to do well on a Venus MC line. If you're a photographer or anyone who leaves a place more beautiful than when they found it, like an interior decorator or interior designer, you will do well here, okay? So any career having to do with tapping into beauty, art, or a pleasurable experience will do well on a Venus MC line. All right, so next let us move on to Sun MC lines. And of course, we're gonna first start by talking about the sun in astrology, in our natal charts, because this is where astrocartography begins and ends. So the sun in astrology rules Leo. Leo energy is warm, it's welcoming, it's celebratory, it's expressive, and so is the sun, right? It represents our ego, how our sense of self and self-esteem can shine, or also, alternatively, can be a bit blocked and snuffed out, okay? It's our sense of individuality, it's our star power, and while in astrology, Jupiter expands everything it touches, which I'll talk more about in a second, the sun illuminates everything it touches, right? So the sun is also a natural career signifier in the chart. So if you think about how Venus can show how we're naturally suited to make money, the sun can show not necessarily how we'll make income directly, but more so where we are meant to shine and where we have our gifts and talents, which in these days mostly does translate back to our career, right? So for example, sun in the third house, which represents thought, intellect, learning, and communication, often signifies someone who will work well in marketing or in sales or as a teacher, especially if you're teaching primary school grades or high school, so like earlier elementary as opposed to post-secondary education. So in your natal chart, if your sun is poorly aspected, that can indicate problems with your self-expression or even with authority figures or with one's father, because the sun also does have significations around father and authority figures like government. So it's very important when looking at sun lines and astrocartography to keep these things in mind. So bringing it back to Sun MC lines specifically, Sun MC lines, we're going to combine the significations of the sun that we talked about with themes of your midheaven and career. So if you're living in a city along your Sun MC line, expect themes around self-expression, visibility, and leadership as it relates to your career. So let's go theme by theme here about Sun MC lines. One of the first major themes that you can expect on a Sun MC line is getting attention. Sort of like the Sun AC line, the energy of a Sun MC line could be very apparent to the point where you could be walking around town and notice that you are getting more attention in cities than you were in cities not on your Sun MC line, right? So this could be people looking at you, staring at you, getting compliments, and potentially being treated as a person who other people automatically want to respect. It's almost as if people see you differently here and are more willing to actively notice and even celebrate your unique traits that may have felt overlooked elsewhere. So you're likely to not to experience not only attention, but also accolades, right? Celebration. So when you do something that's great or when you reach a milestone, you may find that the celebrations tend to come your way way easier. It might feel like people want you to succeed. Your boss wants it, your partner wants it, your clients want it. So on a Sun MC line, your hard efforts tend to be celebrated more. And because of that, your confidence is likely to get a boost as well. This is great for your career, right? So it's easy to see how all of these benefits would translate to career success. Another theme is fame. So fame sounds similar to that theme of attention that we just talked about, but really it does go beyond that. So fame is specifically when you are known for a thing or a specific niche. You want to earn that celebrity or local status if your goal is to become famous. You want to become visible for the community, or you want to stand out of the crowd in some way. And for people to say, yes, that is the person I want to watch, that is the person I want to emulate or follow. So that is easier to accomplish on a Sun MC line, especially if that fame that you're after has something to do with creativity, expression, or talent. Leo in astrology is associated with the 5th house of creativity, so all of this makes sense. So let's talk about specific careers that will thrive in cities along your Sun MC line. So Sun MC lines are especially supportive of roles where you need to capitalize on your self-expression or where you need to be the center of attention. So this happens to work quite well in corporate America or tech companies, because the culture in companies like that is really self-centered around leadership and individual contribution and leading a team. So most careers in corporate and tech will be well supported by being on a Sun MC line. And I would honestly say that a Sun MC line is more beneficial than a Venus MC line in that specific way. Now, as far as life outside of corporate America, similar to a Venus MC line, if you have a talent like singing or dancing or acting, in cities along your Sun MC line, you're going to feel called to tap into those traits of yours. And you're more likely to get recognition for them too, which is why most people actively choose a Sun MC line. They're after that spotlight, right? So a Venus MC line won't necessarily bring you a spotlight, but the Sun MC line is better supported to do so. Other careers that are enhanced by living on your Sun MC line would be careers in media, specifically where you are the star. So broadcasting, podcasting, radio personality. Do people still listen to the radio? I'm sure they do. Where again, it's your voice, your face, your persona that is front and center. I would also say a coach or a guide or any position where you motivate others to take action, a Sun MC line would also enhance. So lastly, let's talk about the third line in astrocartography that is super great for careers, and that is the Jupiter MC line. So starting with Jupiter MC in our astrology and in our natal charts first, Jupiter is known as the great benefic. Jupiter is the teacher, the guru, the guide. It's a very wise energy. And where Jupiter is in our charts, you can generally expect to receive some level of luck, expansion, growth, or abundance because Jupiter expands whatever it touches. This is typically positive, like Jupiter conjunct Venus, right? Great, but it can be negative as well. So Jupiter is kind of agnostic in the sense that it just expands anything that it touches. So for example, Jupiter in your 7th house, that would mean one-on-one relationships are not only important to you, but you also usher luck into life, usher wealth into life when you make those close one-on-one connections. This doesn't have to be romantic. It could be one-on-one clients. The 7th house also represents the public, so it could be just being in public, interacting with public in some way. That's where you would experience your most luck and ease. Versus Jupiter in the 1st house. Because the 1st house is all about identity, appearance. Jupiter in the 1st house will make a larger than life personality, or you might have a specific feature about you that really stands out in a way that catches attention, but like in like a kind of larger than life. Like it could be your hair, right? For example. It also typically makes you pretty lucky because Jupiter is that house, is the planet of luck. Okay, so if we're thinking about Jupiter versus the Sun versus Venus, Venus brings financial implications, beauty, or value to whatever it touches. The sun illuminates or gives a greater importance to whatever it touches. And Jupiter expands or provides growth opportunities through whatever it touches. And Jupiter also has learning implications. So that's the difference between Sun, Jupiter, and Venus in your chart, and also in astrocartography. So bring it back to Jupiter MC lines. In cities along your Jupiter MC line, it's going to combine those significations of Jupiter that we just talked about with themes of your midheaven. So if you're living in a city on your Jupiter MC line, you can expect themes of growth and luck and expansion and ease as it relates to your career. Pretty great, right? So theme by theme, let's go through it. One of the major themes that you can experience on a Jupiter MC line is expansion. So unlike both Venus and Sun MC lines, where the effects of both can be noticed pretty broadly in your day-to-day life, I find that Jupiter MC lines manifest more obviously when it comes to your career specifically. So you could find that when you move to a city on your Jupiter MC line, you experience career growth faster or in a more pronounced way than when you were not on your Jupiter MC line. So this could be more promotions, but I usually find that it's also just landing really sweet, impressive jobs, like high-powered jobs or like big shot jobs with cool companies, just being very well employed. So if your career feels stagnant, this is an excellent overall line to start with because you're likely to finally feel that growth that you have been after. Another theme is actual wealth, right? So like Venus, Jupiter is actually somewhat of a wealth indicator, especially since Jupiter is in general tied to luck. And in today's modern age, luck with money is specifically one of the ways you typically see luck manifesting. That isn't to say that if you don't have other things going on in your chart or have more difficult transits or even are on a difficult Peron, that this couldn't dampen the effect of a Jupiter MC line, because those things absolutely could. But overall, you may find that on a Jupiter MC line, the jobs you land pay you well, and it's also easier for you to see that wealth accumulate, all right? You'll see this on Jupiter MC lines and Venus MC lines more so than you would on a Sun MC line, which is more so about self-expression and visibility. It's one of the differences between all those lines. The third theme that you will experience on a Jupiter MC line is success. Overall success. So not only are you more likely to find a cool job or a big job and get paid well for it, but in general, you'll do a good job. You'll be successful. You'll feel accomplished. You don't feel blocked or feel set up for failure. So generally, the jobs that you land will in turn make it easier for you to land another good job, right? So it's kind of like compounding success there. You also may find that you're able to successfully find work when others around you might seem to struggle, right? So you may have success when others around you are struggling. And then you also might feel an overarching sense of confidence when it comes to your career, making it so that you're more willing to take risks or make a bold industry change. So having this feeling that, yeah, I'm going to make a change here and it is risky, but I feel like it's going to be okay, right? So that's Jupiter. That's an optimistic energy that a Jupiter MC line will bring as it relates to your career. And overall, your efforts as far as your career goes are well received by the public. So there's this nice feedback loop there that overall continues to that feeling of success. Now, as far as specific jobs that Jupiter MC lines enhance, so on a Jupiter MC line, more than any other line we're talking about today, more than a Sun line, more than a Venus MC line, almost any career here is going to feel supported. So that sense of luck and optimism and that growth trajectory is going to find you in your professional endeavors. So there's that, right? That's awesome. Secondarily, because Jupiter is the guide, the guru, the wise one, any career in education is well supported, especially higher education as opposed to primary school. So if you work as a therapist, a counselor, a guide, a coach, those careers really speak to what Jupiter is best at. And this does extend to social media, right? So if you want to teach folks and you want to be a subject matter expert on something, whether it's in person or online, you're well supported on a Jupiter MC line. And lastly, religion and law would fare very well in cities along a Jupiter MC line as well. Being a pastor, that could look like being a lawyer or a judge, because you're really then tapping into that more philosophical side of Jupiter, which is a lesser known, but it's still a super strong trait of Jupiter. So there we have it. For a quick recap, Venus MC lines are great for earning more income and for careers in beauty or the arts. Sun MC lines are great if you're looking for an element of spotlight, fame, leadership, or have natural talents that you want to express and share with the world. And Jupiter MC lines are like the workhorse. They're the best overall line for career success from a holistic standpoint for money and growth, but also specifically if you want to teach or coach in some way, that is the best line for you. And if you want to know where the Jupiter MC line, Venus MC line, and Sun MC line fall on your astrocartography map, or how these are likely to play out for you based on your natal birth chart, I do offer personal astrocartography readings. The link for that is in the subscription. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please like and subscribe. It is more helpful to our channel growth than you could possibly know. I'm also going to drop some other links for some of my other videos on Jupiter, Sun, and MC lines in the description, where I dive super deep into all three of those in a way that I didn't do here. So I hope to see you soon.